to have a commanding lead, but then the University of British Columbia found something and came back and took it by about a half a bow length. University of California, San Diego made a run, but were unable to get more than third, and Gonzaga finished in fourth. And one of our most closely contested races throughout the day here in San Diego.
Right, up next we have the Jessop-Whittier Cup. The crews are on the stake boats, but we've got a few minutes before the start time. Jim, what are the conditions like down there for the start of the Jessop-Whittier?
They're not too out of control. The wind is moderated a little bit. There's still a quartering headwind coming from the port side of the boats, which requires the coxswains to have the people on the starboard side reach back, or excuse me, the port side reach back and scull the bows up. But definitely not too much of a favored lane, other than perhaps once you get past the openings for the bridge, the shoreline might be a little bit better. But nothing out of control, and I look for a nice, clean, explosive start for this race.
We have, based on yesterday's heat times, in lane 1, the University of Southern California have the best time based on yesterday. They did a 6:37. In lane 3, look for the University of Virginia. They did a 6:38, so only 1 second separating them and USC. Then we had University of Washington, who had that boil-over last gasp win in the heat. They did a 6:43. They're in lane 2. And then lanes 4 and 6, Cal and Stanford, they did a time almost identical at 6:44. And in lane 5, UCLA did a time of 6:49 yesterday. So they're all within cooey of each other, but definitely the crews that seem to have the advantage based on times out of yesterday's heats are in lane 1, University of Southern California, and lane 3, the University of Virginia.
One other note here on the counteracting forces that are on our course at this time. The tide is going out, but the wind is coming down the course. So what would that affect the lanes as they come down the 2,000-meter course here at the San Diego Crew Classic, the Women's Collegiate Varsity Invitational Grand Final? Charles?
Well, obviously the worst combination is wind against tide, but that's not what we've got today. Essentially the tide is going out now, and the wind is blowing behind the tide. So it's going to make for slow conditions. We may not get the times that we had yesterday, but I don't think it's going to set up the chop any worse than the wind's creating at the moment. We just heard the officials' 5-minute warning before the start of the Jessop-Whittier Cup. Crews are on the stake boats, and the coxswains are using their rowers to keep adjusting their point, keeping themselves pointed up into the wind.
Event number 74, Women's Collegiate Varsity Invitational Grand Final. Lane 1, University of Southern California. 2, University of Washington. 3, Jessop-Whittier Grand Final. Lane 1, University of Southern California. Lane 2, University of Washington. Lane 3, University of Virginia. 4, University of California, Berkeley. 5, UCLA. 6, Stanford
Okay, the cruise to watch. Cruise to